Botched burials. Detroit police exhumed graves to determine the identities of several murder victims.
But it turns out the wrong bodies were in those graves. Now there's a whole new investigation to find out what went wrong. 7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig is live in Plymouth outside United Memorial Gardens Cemetery. Kim, fill us in.
Yeah, Carolyn and Dave, state investigators were just out here at United Memorial Gardens, and this is so troubling because you have 6 homicide victims that were buried out here, and the cemetery doesn't know where they are.
There's no explanation. That's why we had to do a search warrant for the records to try to identify the reason ourselves.
When Detroit police came to United Memorial Gardens 2 weeks ago, they exhumed the bodies of 7 unknown homicide victims. They needed their DNA to try and identify them and even connect them to relatives. But when they looked at the bodies, they realized only one was the body they were looking for. 6 of them were the wrong bodies.
There's no indication that those deaths were related to any type of crime.
Detroit police say some of the 7 bodies they were looking for are gunshot victims, and it's unclear how the cemetery buried the wrong people or forgot where they buried the 6. And only Action News cameras were here at United Memorial Gardens Tuesday when Detroit police came back to the cemetery to search their records.
We did our search warrant yesterday. We had to go through records and see if we can try to identify the location of the 6 remains.
The exhumations are part of Operation United, a project that was launched in May by Detroit police and their law enforcement partners to get DNA from unknown homicide victims in hopes of figuring out who they are. The bodies of the 6 victims the cemetery somehow lost track of were killed as far back as 30 years ago. We're told they range in ages from a day-old infant to someone 45 years old. Today, the cemetery only telling us no comment, but they'll have to answer to investigators from the state of Michigan who were on site this afternoon.
These span decades. As far as these homicide victims, we're not talking about recent cases. We're talking about cases that were 10, 20 years old. So they're just open cases where we need to, it's essential that we identify who the victim is so we can move forward.
And sources tell me police will be back to find those 6 unidentified homicide victims and also others. Reporting live in Plymouth, Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.
Wow, sounds like a lot of confusion there. All right, thank you so much, Kim, for the live report.